Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Brock the Collector here. First and foremost, allow me to apologize for my absence. School and all that has been getting crazy. I realized I didn't upload a single video this year. There's a lot of videos I said I was going to upload that I haven't. I apologize for that. And let me just be honest, I don't think there's going to be a top 10 of 2023 because I don't know if y'all want to see any of those this late. Let me know if you guys do. But this was a video that I would have been planning for a while, and I finally had some free time. I wanted to get around and do this because we're in very much a Star Wars season right now, and that is every Star Wars Black Series Legends figure. And now that just means when I say Legends, I'm not saying characters or figures. It has to be Legends exclusive, either a Legends exclusive character or a Legends exclusive look for a character, Legends / expanded universe. There's not going to be any overlapping stuff, because if I did, then there's going to be all of the figures from the 6 Star Wars movies and all that mad stuff. So we're just going to be doing Legends exclusive characters here today. It can be video games, books, comics, novella, anything of the sort. I'm going to be taking you through all of those. I have most of them. There are some that I don't have. I didn't actually realize how many Legends sort of figures and characters that we've had in the line. Because this is actually a lot more than I was expecting, and these aren't even all of them. There will be some figures that sort of blur the lines. Some figures I'm going to sort of honorably mention because they're sort of like Legends, like they're technically canon characters, but they're based off of Legends design. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. But these are the Legends exclusive, Legends only looks you can find for characters. We're going to be going through those first. I'll try to walk you through them in timeline order. Forgive me if I look like I'm breezing through some of these, but these are over 30 figures we got to talk about in just under 20 minutes somehow. So without further ado, let's get into it. Thank you guys for coming back to me. Thank you guys for waiting for me, and let's do it. So in the Star Wars Black Series line, we have a total of 6 figures from the Old Republic era. That includes both the KOTOR and SWTOR games. 7 if you include the one honorable mention to this figure. But let's start with the first and one of the most popular Legends characters, Darth Revan. This figure was released back in 2016, I think, and it was very, very, very popular when it came out. But then for a while there, in like 2018, it started peg warming in like Targets and that. I think I was able, or sorry, not Targets, in Best Buys and that. I think that's where I got mine personally. And then it like shot up in price 2020, around those times there. You couldn't find it. They re-released it as an archive version. But in 2020, they also released this Jedi Revan figure as a part of the Gaming Greats line with the Galaxy of Heroes mobile game, based off the Galaxy of Heroes mobile game. So since Revan is not like a canon character, I decided to include both of these because these are technically both, looks inspired from a Legends character. But these are both the Darth Revans that we got in the line. There are technically 3 of them, but the second one is just this version. The archive version is just this version with the thicker lightsabers in that. This is the original 2016 release. And that's very nice. So that sort of started us down the path. I think that this is one of the first few Legends figures that they did, well, with the exceptions to one pack, which we'll talk about in a moment. Following the KOTOR line, next up we got Darth Nihilus. This one was also a Gaming Greats GameStop exclusive. This is back when Gaming Greats was still in like that red and blue box, or red and black box packaging. But each Gaming Greats figure actually had a different color, which I thought was very cool. Darth Nihilus here was like a very deep, or like a very bloodish red. And it looked great. So this is the Darth Nihilus figure. People were dogging on it when it came out because it's on like that old Darth Maul body. A lot of people have customized it to be on the Kylo Ren sort of 2016 or 2015 Kylo Ren body. I never modded I was thinking about modding it, but I just never did it. Honestly, I'm pretty fine with this because even though it doesn't stand the greatest and all that, it's just Darth Nihilus, man. I never thought we'd have a Darth Nihilus in the Black Series line. This figure is very expensive now, I think, as well. I think it's going to, but I couldn't find it for under 60. But to be fair, that was when I checked like a year ago. Yeah, it's a nice one. People definitely, especially with how many more KOTOR figures we got nowadays, this one, it's nice to have this one to sort of flesh that out. Let's get a Darth Sign and a Darth Trey as well. Zabar is next. This was released in the Gaming Greats line after it is switched to the new 2020 packaging. This was released in, I think, 2021. Late 2021 is when I got mine. Now, most Legends figures, most figures you're going to see on this list have increased in price, or at least they will increase in price. They are increasing in price. This is one of the rare figures on this list that actually peg warmed. And I think it's mainly just because, number one, the old Wookiee body is not great. Number two, there's not really any accompanying figures you can put this with. Even in like a KOTOR section with the very limited figures we have, it looks out of place. They should have supplemented this figure by releasing a mission vow. That would actually probably give people some incentive to, you know, put together maybe a sort of team going on. You can have that sort of coming together. Get like some of the older KOTOR people, get some KOTOR army builders in that, you know, that these guys could fight against. But as it stands, Zabar is one of the most out of place figures in the line, if you ask me. It's like one of the most like, yo, like he's just got no companions. And to be fair, the figure is actually not all that bad. It has some, I like the paint like detailing on him. I like the way that the paint like shades and it goes like that. It looks very natural as well. And I like the accessories, but yeah, they've done Zabar dirty by just releasing him by itself. Like we got to get a mission Val figure to go with him. Get mission Val to go with Big Z, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, there we go. So Zalbar, who's next? Oh yeah. The talk of an upcoming Knights of the Old Republic remake had prompted Hasbro to do figures based off of, well, do these two specific characters, and they claimed that some of them were based off of, that they were sort of based off of designs from the remake. But honestly, I mean, just looking at him, you can just tell it's Darth Malgus and Bastila Shan. The Bastila Shan I have almost no issues with. The Ayla Secura legs in that aren't great, but honestly, I'm just happy to have her. The head sculpt is amazing. The Darth Malgus doesn't really look like my mental image of Darth Malgus doesn't super duper fit this design. I don't know if it's based off of the remake that was canceled or since or what, but I mean, I just know that I imagine it to be more, when I imagine Darth Malgus, I imagine a very much more Praetorian Guard sort of design. And to be fair, this does emulate that here with like, you know, the cones at the, on the arms and all that. But I imagine like, you know, like I'd imagine him in like a suit, you know, like those plastic cups, you know, those red plastic party cups when you stack them all together. That's what I imagine when I think about Darth Malgus. And this does sort of emulate that a bit. The head sculpt and all that is very nice. You can even pop off this like mask thing. Yeah, no, so it's a nice one still. And they have detail under there. These are two very nice ones. And they're very expensive now as well. These ones, I got these from GameStop, but 2023, these dropped in like, there's always like a summer Star Wars Black Series wave that like ends up being like very hard to find. Has some very hard to find figures in it. These were definitely the two of last summer. I picked this girl up at GameStop. It was a GameStop pickup, just the only one in my area. I had to drive like 20 miles for her. And then this brother I got, I don't even remember how I got him. Oh, Amazon and that, yeah. But yeah, these are two very nice ones. And I feel like that concludes all of the KOTOR figures we got to talk about. Now let's talk about our one SWTOR figure. He may be our only one, but he is a beast. This Darth Malgus figure is absolutely, a lot of people will claim it's one of the best in the line. And honestly, you can't really fight him on that because this figure does a lot of stuff that most deluxes in and of itself just do not perform at. And it does it in a way that's very unique as well. This figure has some of the best detailing, some of the best sculpting in the line, and especially in terms of like the head sculpt, the alternate options as far as the face, the mask, and all that. It was very hard for me to get the mask off, though. I finally popped mine off. I like to have him without the mask. Some people like it with the mask, the hood, the soft goods, and everything. This figure just does it all right. I do remember there being some QC issues, though. Like, I think that there's something about the feet being backwards or something. Maybe mine are backwards as well. Yeah, I think mine are definitely backwards, actually. That looks like mine are backwards. So I know that there were a few QC issues with it. But overall, this one it's a very nice one as well, man. I gotta say, it's a very nice one. It has like some sort of articulation at the torso. There's like two different ball joints at the torso that actually allow it to move and just get some very nice action poses out of that. The only thing is that there are really no other accompanying figures that you can put this guy with. We gotta get some, like, you know, what's the name of that one guy? Venzalo, yeah, we got to get him. Satil Shan, we got to get some SWTOR figures up in here to accompany this guy, because as it stands, he is lonely. A Vitiate, you know, I'm not even just saying just figures that relate to him. Arcan, we can get just more SWTOR figures going on up in here. But as it stands, this Darth Malgus, it's a nice one to have. If you're going to start with any SWTOR figures, Darth Malgus is a very nice one. And this one, it goes great with the Sith collections that people can start forming as well. So yeah, that's a nice one. This 2023 really gave us this and the Bastila Shan, as well as the Darth Malgus. So it was a nice year for Legends figures last year. Old Republic fans in that they were really enjoying, and this figure is just one of the crowning jewels, crowning achievements. So yeah, it's a nice one still. Jumping forward about 2,000 to 3,000 years in the timeline, actually more than 3,000 years in the timeline, we come to the sort of what I like to call the rise of the Sith era, the sort of pre-Clone Wars but post-Phantom Menace era of Star Wars, and in the Legends timeline at least. We only got 2 figures from this sort of era though. So we got the, well, actually, let me not say post Phantom Menace, because we do have the Sith Apprentice Darth Maul here. This is based off of a comic appearance. You can see the box art for his figure in the Lucasfilm publishing line actually had the same cover art that the comic did. So that's a very nice one as well. That's Sith Apprentice Darth Maul look. And then you have the Bounty Hunters game Boba Fett. Or sorry, not Boba Fett, Jango Fett. I knew I'd make that mistake. And this one does come, unlike the first, actually no, the first Jango Fett did come with a removable helmet. What am I talking about? But this one does as well. I actually haven't seen it in a while. Wow, look at that. Yeah, I usually don't take this head off, but look at that. That looks just like Jango. So, or Tamira Morrison. So yeah, these are both very nice figures there. The Jango Fett, of course, it was a Gaming Greats release. The Darth Maul was Lucasfilm Publishing, but these are both 2 very nice figures. This one, this Jango Fett, as you can see, has the more pre or early Attack of the Clones jetpack. It doesn't have like the Geonosis Arena jetpack in that. So yeah, 2 very nice and accurate figures to your to add to your growing and bursting Legends collections or video game collections, comic collections. These are 2 nice ones, and I don't think that these are particularly expensive. Maybe the Jango Fett might be a bit higher in price, but the Darth Maul you can probably still get for around retail or lower. So yeah, nice ones. I do recommend these. This is not the lightsaber that he came with though, fun fact. This is actually the lightsaber that came with the archive version. This one came with a much more shiny, better looking dual bladed lightsaber. Oh, and did you guys see that new Darth Maul that's coming out? That one looks pretty sick. That one might be a talk about on the channel when that one drops, but yeah. So before the 2008 Dave Filoni Clone Wars series dropped with the movie that released in theaters as well as on the Cartoon Network, in the time in between the release of Star Wars Episode 2 and Star Wars Episode 3, the actual Clone Wars period, the way that Lucasfilm would release Clone Wars projects back then was through a multimedia campaign. It was called the Clone Wars Multimedia Project. It lasted from 2002 to 2005. And basically, it fleshed out the time period in between episodes 2 and 3 with various books, games, comics, novella, some of which ended up being very, very important, some of which are kind of obscure but also fan favorites. And one of the most notable things to come out of that period was the Genndy Tartakovsky 2003 Clone Wars TV show, which aired on the Cartoon Network as well. And these are all 4 figures we have from that TV show. We will also go into, we have like 11 total figures from the Clone Wars Multimedia Project in the Black Series line. And we will go over those because those also include figures from the Republic Commando games and some other, you know, Hasbro made up stuff. But these are the 4 figures we have from the Genndy Tartakovsky series. So we have the first one that they ever released was this Clone Commander ObiWan right here with the, you know, Black Series does that realism thing. So this was on the original clone body. They did make some modifications to it, Walgreens exclusive modifications to it to put on the cape, the cloak, and everything like that. And this, people know I really like this figure, even with its flaws. I still love this one. This was so hard to find when it came out for me in my area. Very difficult figure to get a hold of, and it was expensive for quite a while as well. But it also has that sort of Revenge of the Sith Ewan McGregor head sculpt. It looks incredibly amazing, I gotta say. Like, it just looks good. And then I believe it was about like I think it was 2022. 2022 was when they dropped, but 2021 is when they were announced. For the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, Hasbro had come out with, you know, the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm program, and they were sort of celebrating all sort of walks from the Star Wars saga, and they did drop these Walmart exclusive Genndy Tartakovsky inspired Clone Wars figures. And these are nice ones right here. So we have Captain Fordo, we got General Grievous, and we got Mace Windu. General Grievous probably the sort of out of the bunch because it really just is the other General Grievouses we have. They made no modifications to it. For some reason, this one stands better than my other ones. But other than that, it's the same basic look General Grievous. The Fordo, a lot of people have Grievouses with because it's just does not look like the cartoon at all. It's still a very nice looking figure, but yeah, it's not completely accurate to the cartoon, is it? And then the Mace Windu is overall just not that offensive. It's not bad. It's probably not the best Jedi figure in the line, but it's a very nice one, especially if you like your Jedi and your armor in that. But now they also have the 2008 Clone Wars Mace Windu figure, which I will be interested to see next to this one. But yeah, overall, with the Clone Wars multimedia project, they did some very nice stuff. The Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, there's plenty of potential for figures that they could still do. So yeah, this is an iceberg that they've barely scratched. We still got to get the blue version of these ARC troopers. You know, got to get Anakin and Asajj Ventress and all them people there. So yeah, this is I'm satisfied with these. But let's keep moving on through the Clone Wars multimedia project. Novels such as Yoda Dark Rendezvous and Mace Windu Shatterpoint novel would also end up becoming very popular with the Star Wars fandom during the time. But one of the most popular entries in the Clone Wars multimedia project was the Republic Commando video game. It was also supplemented by some, by like, I think it was like 4 to 5, I think it was 5 novels, yeah, written by Karen Traviss, which followed Omega Squad, which is sort of a lesser known Clone Commando squad. But Hasbro has made the most notable Clone Commando squad, that being Delta Squad, obviously. These are all released in the Gaming Greats line within about a year of each other. I believe Boss dropped first, and then by that same time next year, I think it was like April is when I got Boss, and by that time next year, I'd already gotten Scorch in like March 2023. So yeah, they did drop these guys and relatively quickly got that whole team together. Again, a lot of controversy with these figures when they came out. That tends to be a trend with a lot of the Legends characters, because since usually Hasbro doesn't sink a lot of new tooling into the Legends inspired figures in the line, like, you know, so that's why figures like Darth Malgus and Darth Revan were so highly praised when they came out, because usually figures that aren't part of like new content don't really get that much effort put into them. But, you know, and, you know, these guys were one of the examples. These reused the Hunter body mold. And, you know, whether or not you're good with that, bad with that, it is nice to have the Delta Squad in the Black Series line. And if this is going to be the only capacity that we can get them all, like, honestly, having Delta Squad to me is more important than the way that we get them. But it would have been nice to have these on a bigger, bulkier Commando body in it. But, yeah, no, these are all right. These were also supplemented by the release of a Republic Commando inspired battle droid. So you can see there, this battle droid has the sort of darker deco. The battle droids in Republic Commando were far more agile, and they had a bit more like, they had some attachments to them that sort of separated them from the regular basic look battle droids you see. And the thing is that with the battle droid mold that we just have in the line, it's very difficult for this figure to execute some of those poses that the battle droids in Republic Commando would perform, because, you know, they were always crouched very low to the ground. But overall, it is nice to have, and it's nice to add to your Separatist section. These guys, I believe all these Republic Commando figures, like, they weren't that hard to find when they came out. I know that at least all of them were on GameStop.com for some time. But, of course, as with a lot of clones in the line, a lot of these Clone Wars sort of inspired figures and all that, these are starting to shoot up in price. So, you know, get yourself your Delta Squad if you can. I think you can still find them all for under 100 at least. I think you can do that. I don't know. But, yeah, these are nice ones. My favorite one, personally, is probably Scorch, the Scorch figure. But overall, yeah, these are not the greatest figures that they've done, not the best Legends figures that there are. But if you want to have your completed Republic Commando team, these are nice chappies. I would like to see, sorry for saying chappies, I've been watching Electric Football Hero, and he always says that. But I would like to see these all in black. I would like to see a Omega Squad in the line as well. Real quickly, it is worthy to note that there are like about 3 more figures that you could technically include in this Clone Wars multimedia project as we talk about it. There is the 442nd Siege Battalion figure. Now, that was based off of Revenge of the Sith concept art that never made it in. And to be fair, I didn't also include it because, number 1, I don't have it. Number 2, it's also like, it's been recanonized. The 442nd Siege Battalion has been canonized in like an ObiWan Kenobi comic. So I don't know how I felt about including it on this list, but you could technically throw that one in there if you wanted to, because when they made it, it wasn't a canon figure yet. It was sort of just a Revenge of the Sith concept art design that never made it through. And then you got the upcoming 187th, well, actually, it's not really upcoming, is it? Some people have it. The 187th Legion clone trooper that came with the Mace Windu in the 2-pack. The Mace Windu is, of course, based off of the 2008 Clone Wars, but the 187th Legion figure was a design that Hasbro made up to basically just to sell more toys, isn't it? And ever since then, it's been sort of accepted as the Legends 187th Legion / Battalion design. And then you have, what was it? What was the last one? Ugh, why am I completely blanking on it now? Oh, right. And then you got the Clone Commander Gree, the upcoming Clone Commander Gree that is dropping in the 2-pack with Yoda, the Clones of the Republic 2-pack. That figure, I know it's based off of a Star Wars UK comic. I think it's Star Wars UK is like a comic. It's called like Seeds or something like that. But that figure, the only thing is that that comic, I'm not sure whether or not that comic is canon. I don't think that it is. And because I know that most of the, even though the Clone Wars cartoon remained as part of the canon continuity, a lot of the surrounding books and comics and all that stuff around it has been decanonized since. So I don't know how I felt about including that one on the list and that, and it's also just not released yet, is it? But if you wanted to include those, you could. Those are technically, you could say, upcoming Star Wars Legends figures because they're not truly 100% fully canon designs, are they? But yeah, all right. So moving on, let's move into the Force Unleashed now. Now the Force Unleashed has its own little nice assortment of exclusive figures that you can get, or exclusive figures, yeah, in the line that you can pick up. But there are really no shortage of figures for your Star Killers for your Star Killer to fight. The Star Killer in and of itself was the biggest gap in the Force Unleashed line because most of these figures, you see these other accompanying figures that you have around here, these troopers, these shadow guards, these royal guards, and that, they all came out before the Star Killer figure, the Star Killer figure did. The Star Killer figure just came out late last year, and for a while we've had like these, we've had this shadow guard, this Imperial shadow guard Senate figure for like, we've had that one ever since the Last Jedi came out. That one, so that's going on like 7 years now, having that figure. That one came in a 4-pack back in like 2017. Then we had this Imperial Senate Guard figure. That one came out like 2022, I think, or 2021 even. I think it was 2022 though. Yeah, 2022 for that one. We've had these two Bettas here. These both dropped summer 2020. You know, so yeah, the Star Killer was the biggest missing gap. But honestly, the Force Unleashed is one of those games where, you know, you fight a plethora of enemies, and we do have a very nice amount in the line. So there's really no shortage of ACBA options you can have for the Star Killer figure that we finally have. We have 2 Star Killers. This one is the convention exclusive version, which is the exact same as the single release, just with more accessories. I do have both. This is the convention version. The single release version I have, they're both easily moddable in between either, so you can, you know, switch and change and switch and match. The single release has nothing that the convention exclusive version doesn't have. It would have been nice if the single release came with something, but then again, that would probably just annoy people because now the people who got the convention exclusive version feel like they have to go get the single release. So I can see why they didn't do that. But overall, no, it's a very nice, the Force Unleashed is a very nice fleshed out part of the Star Wars Legends cadre of figures that we have in the line. It would be nice to get a lot of more Force Unleashed figures though, especially the accompanying characters. I would like to see a Darth Phobos. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to see how the Black Series team attempts to do that one as well, or a Jedi Star Killer, Jedi Galen Merrick, you know, all that good stuff. I would like to see that. But yeah, in terms of Force Unleashed, these are not bad, and I believe that most of these figures, or at least some of these figures, this one is probably more difficult to find. But this pack was very expensive for a little bit, and then it went down in price. I think I got mine for like $70 back in 2022. So it shouldn't be that difficult to come upon most of these. And I believe that the Star Killer figure is probably just the harder one to come about, but I'm sure that, you know, we'll get more releases of him in other ways. And I believe also the convention exclusive set is still available on Hasbro Pulse for a markdown price. Technically, I could have included the 2 Stormtroopers that this figure came with, but that would just be cheeky, isn't it? And let's not be cheeky today. So yeah, are there any more? Oh yeah, Age of the Rebellion. So I consider the Age of the Rebellion to be like legend stories that took place anytime in between episodes 4 and 6. Out of that time, we really only have a few figures, very few. We have this Jackson figure that dropped. This is technically a canon figure though, considering the box art for it in the Lucasfilm Publishing line was based off of the Star Wars Adventures, the more canon comic book in which they actually did give Jackson a last name. I think in Legends he didn't have a last name, but in canon it's like Lumparaki or something. But then of course this figure is not the only one. You have the Imperial Shadow Squadron set from I think it's like 2015. It was in the blue and the black and blue box packaging. That set as well, those are sort of like those are clearly inspired off of like the sort of Agent Black Hole, you know, entire like story and all that stuff that went on in these Star Wars comics as well. So those are technically your only two Age of the Rebellion figures now that we got in the line. Moving past that though, we move into the expanded universe itself. Everything that happened from episode 6 and later. And boy, that is one of the most exciting parts of my collection. Let's move into those figures. Unfortunately, we only have about 4 figures from the actual expanded universe proper. To be fair, that is about to change, but the 4 that we currently do have, the first that we ever got was this Jaina Solo. This dropped back in, I think it was 2017 or 2018. That figure is one of the absolute best in the line. I still love that figure. Like, the articulation on it is just crazy. She has super articulation. She was one of the first Hasbro figures to implement it, I'm pretty sure. That figure is absolutely amazing in and of itself. That Jaina Solo, and it's also like, if you really think about it, that's technically the latest figure we have in the Star Wars Legends. I think in the Star Wars timeline in and of itself, for anything, if you really think about it. I mean, I think canon actually extends farther past Legacy of the Force with the sequel trilogy and that. But she is, if you talked about Star Wars Legends Expanded Universe timeline, that is as far ahead into the future as you can go, because we don't have any figures from the Star Wars Legacy. We don't have no Cade Skywalker. We don't have no Lumaya. We don't have nothing like that. So in terms of, or, you know, Darth Nil, nothing like that. No Darth Crate. So that's a nice one. We really got to get a Darth Cadus to go with her. We have this Heir to the Empire Luke. This dropped in the Lucasfilm publishing line. I broke mine though. Like, my neck thing broke, so I have like a piece of paper in there to sort of help hold the head up. But this figure is nice. He did not come with that backpack though. But this is sort of, I view this as like his more Merker sort of appearance. That's his like sort of Merker look. And then you got Mara Jade. This figure is supposed to be based off of Dark Force Rising, but clearly, you know, I mean, like, yeah, to be fair, but then a lot of the look also, it's her same look that she carries throughout. So that could also be your Legacy of the Force, Mara Jade as well. So that one's easy to sort of fudge into different places. That's a nice all-encompassing Mara Jade. And then we got Kir Kanos from Crimson Empire. So if you really to put these in order, I would put the Luke Skywalker from Heir to the Empire first, then the Mara Jade, then the Crimson Empire Kir Kanos, because that was after Palpatine's return in Dark Empire, and then the Legacy of the Force Mara Jade. That's how you'd order it, I'm pretty sure. But all in all, these are very nice. What I mean by it's about to expand is that, of course, if you guys have been keeping up to date with the news, there is an upcoming Star Wars Black Series Heir to the Empire, or actually the Last Command, 4-pack coming out, featuring a Luke Skywalker, which is just the plain basic bloke, Return of the Jedi Luke. And then we got a Mara Jade as well, which is a repack of this with a new head. But then we got Luke Skywalker, the clone, created by Jurus Sabaoth from Luke's severed hand. And then we also got Jurus Sabaoth himself, Jurus Sabaoth, however the hell you want to say it, the clone, as well. So that's going to be very exciting. I can't wait to get those. Jurus Sabaoth, if you guys remember, was actually in my top 10 most wanted Star Wars Black Series figures of last year, that list that I made. So it's going to be very nice to get those. It's going to be very nice to expand these sort of expanded universe characters. But we still got to get, there's so much potential with the expanded universe in terms of characters and figure designs, and they don't even have to be new sculpts. Like, we got to get more X-Wing pilots. Let's get Rogue Squadron, you know what I'm saying? Corran Horn. Let's get some of these characters out there. Corran Horn is my Cal Kestis. People talk about Cal Kestis. For me, that's my boy Corran Horn right there. But all right, so I think I think we blazed through about 28 figures right there. Let's get the family photo together. Let's get them all together and see how they look together, and then we'll get on up out of here. So there they are, ladies and gentlemen. Well, not all. Most of, like, I think this is like over 30, maybe a bit under 30, but the near 30 Star Wars Black Series figures we have in the line that are inspired by Legends content. Oh, let me get Jackson in the frame. Damn it, I just knocked my Vader over. Let's get Jackson in there. But yeah, honestly, all in all, you really get to see, with the Legends figures that we have in the line, as sparse as they are, as little are made, you really do get to see some of the absolute best and some of the worst in the line with these figures. Some of the worst in terms of figures like General Grievous, which really attempt to do nothing new to be sort of accurate to the material that they're inspired based off of. And then some figures like Star Killer or, you know, Jaina Solo, who just go above and beyond for absolutely no reason for some of these little bit more obscure sort of characters that not everybody in the fandom may know about. So all in all, it's a nice selection here. And in terms of what you have, there's a bit, you just dip your toes into each. It doesn't dive you super deep in, unfortunately. It would be nice to get the truly more obscure characters, because if you really look at it, a lot of these characters are sort of mainstays or like large parts of the stories that they're involved in through that expansive Legends legacy. But you know, you honestly, for a line that's for Star Wars Black Series, you know how Hasbro has their obligations to Disney, and that it is very nice that they do manage to sneak some of these in here for us every now and then. And it's very refreshing to get yourself a nice figure like Darth Malgus, or to complete the Clone Commandos, the Delta Squad. It's always nice to do something like that. So yeah, and you know, figures like Drew Sabaoth, it's just nice to get some of those little sprinkles every now and then. They just make collecting the line just a bit spicier, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, all in all, I'm very happy with this collection. Uh, I'd say yeah. If you're a Legends fan, definitely Black Series. You'd probably be, if you're just looking for quantity and not necessarily quality, you don't really care about articulation, you just care about character variety and all that, I would say go with the Legacy collection. I know that a lot of those figures are older, and you know, they're 3.75 inch, they're not 6 inch scale. But honestly, if you want to go for character variety and all that, go for the Legacy collection. Collect 3.75 if you truly want to make it a huge, expansive Legends collection. I just did this as a sort of a Star Wars. We're in a Star Wars season right now. I did this as a sort of like a nice little celebration of the Legends timeline as well. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I promise I'll be posting more videos. You know, school is we're finally getting out of that. We're moving on to bigger and better things. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to you guys. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Always remember to be the best. And although I'm leaving, the Force will be with you always.